friends of wheelchair basketball. Welcome to our locker room chat, taking place inside the gym for once. But you could see my chat partner, Mareike, is freshly showered with wet hair. If she gets sick, it's not my fault. We asked her to hurry here. Thank you for taking the time. I have a few questions prepared for you today. First, to jump right in, how do you bring home the bacon when you aren't playing wheelchair basketball? That's actually a great question. I completed my degrees in business with emphasis in project management and marketing. Then I worked the past 2 years, first 1 year full-time in Hamburg and the last year part-time in the US. Now with the move to Cologne, I'm only playing in fact. However, I'm also searching on the right fit to work full-time or 80%, so that's in the works. Alright, so if you have a job for Mareike, get in touch. Just email Cologne. So tell me, Cologne lost quite a few players from last season. You joined for some of the games then. An important man left the stage. Your discoverer, Martin Otto. What does he mean to you? Well, first he was my teacher in high school and eventually brought me to wheelchair basketball. I didn't know anything about adaptive sports before. Or rather, I came to the boarding school he taught at to play able-bodied basketball at first. So after having my several knee injuries and going through rehab, I first switched to coaching able-bodied basketball along with him as well. When I realized I still wanted to be an athlete, and he gave me the chance to at the club ASV Bonn, it meant a lot to me. He gave me the incredible chance to discover this sport, and that was very meaningful to me. With him, wheelchair basketball loses someone great. The able-bodied world is excited to have him, but don't you think we could have kept him in wheelchair basketball somehow? Yeah, it's tough. Cologne motivated him over several years to stay and coach, and he has a high interest in wheelchair basketball. But it's personal things that cost him devoting his time to able-bodied basketball completely now. Due to his family, his daughter still playing, and his many jobs in sports and teaching at Schloss Hagerhof, he would definitely be great for wheelchair basketball, but realistically, I don't think there's a chance of getting him away from those activities. Okay, we said it earlier, you are now playing fully for Cologne after helping out last season. How did you get in touch? Did Sadat contact you and say drop in? No, I was actually in touch with Cologne over the years. After my first year at the club, ASV Bonn, I started studying in the US. During these 5 years, I always spent my entire 3 months on break in Germany. I traveled a lot with the national team, but also had a lot of 10-day or 2-week travel breaks, which I spent at my parents' house in Essen. So I trained with a local club there once or twice a week, and additionally drove to Cologne to train with my national team teammate, Marina. So I was always in touch with the club, and they are who made it possible for me for many years that I could train at a high level. So being connected to Sadat and caring for the club, I helped with a lot of athlete recruiting over the years, and with a coach now. Oh, so the tip for fun was from you then? I got them connected, yes. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the negotiations, but yes, I mentioned his name. That's great. Everyone's super excited about him. Is he as great as everyone says? Yeah, well, he brings a lot of experience to our team. He's been involved in wheelchair basketball for quite a while, super motivated. But just like the rest of our brand new mix of athletes in Cologne, he surely is still in an orientation phase. So he puts a great amount of work in for the club and our team being with us full time. When we don't practice, he watches a lot of video to tell us more about what he sees and thinks. And I believe that he will improve the club over time. Okay, you spoke about your time in college earlier with Babsi Groß and Selina Rausch. 2 athletes just went abroad as well. How is it at a US college? I only know it from movies from back in the day, you know, the parties and such. But you played wheelchair basketball there too. Well, the 2 of them are in Alabama. I can only tell you how it was at my university in Whitewater, Wisconsin, where we trained 2 to 3 times a day, Monday through Friday, and studied on the side. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we had to switch priorities a bit, but either way, there isn't much time for the movie college life with trips for games, leaving on a Thursday, returning on a Sunday, so that weekends are fully gone as well. They support an incredible youth development. The programs are great to go through for a few years to really progress, especially in the beginning of a career. That's why, hopefully, it's good for our national team's future that some of the athletes in Germany took this step to train at a higher level at the beginning of their career and really develop some more skills and knowledge for the future of our national team. Alright, well, you weren't there the past year for Worcester, not Worcester, as I learned by now. Um, Gossip talks about the chemistry between you and your coach Glinnicki, or that you were sick. What was the actual reason you weren't there for Worcester at the European Championships in 2015? Thank you. I'm actually glad to discuss this to clear up the typical unavoidable rumors in a situation like this a little bit. I actually had to schedule a necessary knee surgery for May 2015 after the Euro Cup with Hamburg. So afterwards, I was with the team for the first training camp and tournaments. However, I couldn't even sit in the chair yet then, due to the restricted flexion of my knee. So I was taken along to make sure I don't miss what is discussed and experienced by the team in the meantime, to be in the loop when I finally would be playing the European Championships that year. However, the rehab didn't go as planned, so I was working full time and completing my rehab to then see how I could train additionally. Altogether, it was too much, and with the health risk due to the delayed rehab, something I couldn't do. There was a final discussion about having me join not until Europeans while missing the entire preparation, but playing without training wasn't a compromise I was able to commit to with the health issues on top of it. Having the full-time job and delayed rehab to worry about the previously planned timeline wasn't possible to upkeep. So finally, I had to decide in the favor of my health and put full focus on my rehab without a 2 week break for European Championships. I needed to make sure that my knee is in order also because it's something that bothers me in my ball chair. So it was also something that needed to be taken care of just to be able to stay in wheelchair basketball long term and be able to play this year's Paralympics and so on. A trade-off that I couldn't risk for the one tournament. And after all, they had a great team that won the European Championships in the end. So, as terrible as it was in the moment it happened, it ended up not being an issue with greater effect for the team. But of course, it was not great at first, as it was planned different, and I personally really wished I could have played myself. Of course, health comes first in such a moment. Alright, thank you, Mareike, this far for your open words. I really value your honesty that you offered your view and opinion and facts of what really happened with the European Championships. And what Mareike says about Holger Glinnicki and how it continues with the national team, what she thinks about all the retirees of the national team, and what her favorite candidate as national team coach is like, you'll hear in the next episode. See you then.